Dr. Seuss The Lorax. At the far end of town where the grickle grass grows and the wind smells slow and sour when it blows and no birds ever sing excepting old crows, there's a street of the lifted Lorax. Deep in the grickle grass, some people say, if you look deep enough you can still see today where the Lorax once stood just as long as he could before somebody lifted the Lorax away. What was the Lorax and why was he there, and why was he lifted and taken somewhere from the far end of town where the grickle grass grows? The old oncer still lives there. Ask him, he knows. You won't see the oncer, they'll knock at his door. He lurks in his lurkum on top of the store, and he stays in his lurkum cold under the roof where he makes his own clothes out of miff, muffin, moof, and on special day midnights in August he peeks out of the shutters. Sometimes he speaks and tells us how the Lorax was lifted away. He'll tell you perhaps if you're willing to pay. Now I'll tell you, he says with his teeth sounding gray, how the Lorax got lifted and taken away. And I'll start a way back, such a long, long time back. Way back in the days when the grass was still green and the pond was still and the clouds were still clean, the song of the swami swans rang out in space. One morning I came to this glorious place. I first saw the trees, the truffula trees, the bright colored tufts of the truffula trees, mile after mile in the fresh morning breeze. And under the trees I saw brown barbaloots frisking about in their barbaloot suits as they happily lived eating truffula fruits. From the ribulous pond came the comfortable sound of the humming fish humming while splashing around, yeah. But those trees, those glorious trees, all my life I've been searching for trees such as these. The touch of their tufts was much softer than silk. They had the sweet smell of fresh butterfly milk, and I felt a great leaping of joy in my heart. I knew just what I'd do, I'd unload in my cart. In no time at all I built a small shop, and then I chopped down a truffula tree with one chop. And with great skillful skill and with great speedy speed, I took that old tuft and I knitted a thneed, yeah. But just as I finished, I heard a gazump. I looked, I saw something pop out of the stump of the tree I cut down. It was kind of a man. Let me see, describe him, that's hard. I don't know if I can. He was shortish and oldish and brownish and mossy. And he spoke with a voice that was sharpish and bossy. And he said, "Mister," he said it with a sawdusty sneeze. He said, "I am the Lorax. I speak for the trees. I speak for the trees have no tongues. And I'm asking you, sir, at the top of my lungs." Well, he was very upset as he shouted and puffed. "What's that thing you've made out of my truffula tuft?" "Look, Lorax," I said, "there's no cause for alarm. I chopped down just one tree, man. I'm doing no harm. This thing is quite useful. This thing is a thneed to find something that all people need. It's a shirt, it's a sock, it's a glove, it's a hat, but it has other uses, Mr. Lorax. Yes, far beyond that. You can use it for curtains or covers or seats or covers for bicycle seats." So Lorax said, "Sir, you are crazy with greed. There's no one on earth who would buy that for thneed." But just at that minute, I proved he was wrong. For right at that moment, a chap came along, and he thought that the thneed I had knitted was great. He happily bought it for $3.98. I laughed at the Lorax. "You poor stupid guy. You never can tell what some people might buy." "I repeat," cried the Lorax, "I speak for the trees." "I'm busy," I told him. "Shut up if you please." I rushed across the room and in no time at all I built a radio phone. I put in a quick call, and I called all my cousins and my uncles and aunts and said, "Listen here, here's a wonderful chance for the whole Oncer family to get mighty rich. Get over here fast, take the road to North Nitch, sharp left to Weehawken, and sharp right at South Stitch." And in no time at all in the factory I built, the whole Oncer family was working full tilt. We were all knitting thneeds just as busy as bees to the sound of the chopping of truffula trees. The next week he knocked at my new office door. I am the Lorax who speaks for the trees, which you seem to be chopping as fast as you please, but I'm also in charge of the brown barbaloots who played in the shade eating truffula fruits and happily lived in their truffula suits. Now thanks to your hacking their trees to the ground, there's not enough truffula fruit to go round, and my poor barbaloots are all getting the crummies because they have gas and no food in their tummies. Oh, they love living here, but I can't let them stay. They'll have to find food and I hope that they may. Good luck, boys, he cried, and he sent them away. I, the once felt bad as I watched them all go. But business is business. Business must grow regardless of crummies and tummies, you know. Then again he came back, I was fixing some pipes, when that old nuisance Lorax came back with more gripes. Once he sniffled, he snuffled, he choked, and he whiffled, he waffled, he choked. Once you're making such smogulous smoke, my poor swami swams, they can't sing a note. No one can sing with smog in his throat. So said the Lorax, please pardon my cough. They cannot live here, so I'm sending them off. They may have to fly for a month or a year to escape from the smog you've smogged up around here. What's more, said the Lorax as dander was up, let me say a few words about gluppity-glup. Your machinery chugs on day and night without stop, making gluppity-glup and also slappity-slap. What do you do with this leftover goo? Well, I'll show you, you dirty old once-a-man you. You're gumming the pond where the humming fish hummed. No more can they hum, for their gills are all gum, so I'm sending them off. The future is dreary. They'll walk on the fins and get woefully weary in search of some water that isn't so smeary. And then I got mad. I got terribly mad. I yelled at the Lorax, now listen here, Dad. All you do is you yap, 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 and you judge me and you say bad, 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 bad. Well, I have my rights, sir. And I'm telling you, I'm figuring on biggering and biggering and biggering and doing just what I do, turning more truffula trees into thneeds, which everyone needs. And just at that moment, we heard a loud whack. From outside in the fields came a sickening smack of an axe on a tree. Then we heard the tree fall. The very last truffula tree of them all. No more trees, no more needs, no more work to be done. So no time at all, my aunts, uncles, cousins, brothers, sisters, everyone, they all waved me goodbye. They piled into my cars and they drove away under smoke, smogged stars. All that was left beneath the bad-smelling sky was my big empty factory and the Lorax and I. The Lorax said nothing, just gave me a glance, just gave me a very sad, sad, sad backward glance as he lifted himself by the seat of his pants. And I'll never forget the sad look on his face as he hoisted himself and took leave of this place. Through a hole in the smog without leaving a trace. And all that the Lorax left here in this mess was a small pile of rocks with the one word unless. Whatever that meant, I just couldn't guess. Well, that was a long, long time ago, but each day since that day I've sat here and I've worried away. Through the years that my factories have fallen apart, I've worried about it with all of my heart. But now, says the once, so now that you're here, the words of the Lorax seem perfectly clear unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot. Nothing's gonna get better, man, it's not. So Catch calls it once, or he lets something fall. It's a truffula seed, it's the last one of all. You're in charge of the last of the truffula trees, and truffula trees are what everyone needs. Plant a new truffula, treat it with care. Give it clean water, feed it fresh air. Build a forest, protect it from axes that hack. And the Lorax and all of his friends may come back. They may come back.